Hi, everybody. David Fogel back with you, CEO of the Symphonina Foundation. Back with another Symphonina Foundation podcast, and I am joined for the second time by bassoonist extraordinaire Lindsey Wiehl. And that makes you an official friend of the show, Lindsey, but you are already a friend of the Symphonina Foundation for a long time. You've been one of our bassoonists on the International Symphony Orchestra since we first started, so thank you for that, and welcome back.
Thank you, David.
Lindsey, you were a finalist in our 2025 Best Symphonina of the Year competition, and you had a very interesting composition. It's quite different from like the normal things that we would get, and wonderful, Clockwork Masquerade. And we want to go through it, listen to it, and share it with everybody, and make a few comments and observations, and see what you want to say about it as well, and encourage maybe you to keep going with it. I say have a fourth movement, actually. It's a 3-movement piece currently. I like it a lot, and I think it has more to offer, but we'll find out about that. Can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration for Clockwork Masquerade before we get to movement 1, Gears in Glee, to share with everybody?
Yeah, Clockwork Masquerade had this idea, kind of this dichotomy of kind of the old and the new. I was thinking about these clocks kind of dancing around, and the way that music often has this tempo that's so in time and so strict, and yet allows for all of these melodies and dance-like moments. So that's really what I was trying to convey in the 3 movements.
And you did, in clockwork fashion.
Yeah. I was also kind of, I was a little bit inspired by different kind of dance movements that we study in music history, right? And, maybe a little bit inspired by modern day depictions of the old times, a little Bridgerton kind of inspiration, kind of these ideas of masquerades and large balls and things like that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it sounds good. And let's go. It does sound good. Let's go listen to movement 1 together. Okay, I love that little tick tock that's going on there. And one of the other things I love in there is when the clarinets come in. Both times when you do the repeat of it feels like the masquerade is starting. But you can hear the gears and glee. You can hear the joy of the whole thing coming up. So, is there anything that I missed in that you want to point out to me? Because I mean, those are the things that stand out to me.
Yeah, I think the first movement, I was really trying to get this like excitement and anticipation that comes before the party, like getting ready, getting, all this anticipation of an event and just kind of like that excitement and the pulse of that feeling.
Well, I think we got the next movement is called Iron Pavane, right? Iron Pavane.
Yeah, Iron Pavan. Pavan,
Pavan. See, this is why we
yes.
have these conversations, Lindsay.
Yeah. So the pavan is one of those music kind of history terms that we learn as a dance movement. Typically, it's a more slow, stately kind of dance. So
Okay.
think very regal, 16th century, 17th century type regal dance, usually in a slow two kind of feel.
Okay. All right. Let's
Um,
let's
yeah.
let's go slowly dancing too. Yes, indeed. Stately, slow, in two, until they can't stand it anymore and they have to break out.
Exactly. But then you gotta bring them back because this is, in fact, a stately dance.
Somebody has to be in charge, and it's you, Lindsay. So it's
Right.
you have to get control of them. That was very nice. All right, and the third movement, it's a measured spin. Tell us about that one.
Measured spin, we're kind of bringing things on back to this kind of more fun. The party has come. We have endured the anticipation of the event. We have, behaved our best during the pavan as we could. And then this is that continued kind of clockwork, continuing with that tick-tock kind of idea, but a little more lighthearted and fun towards what I like to think maybe towards the end of the party, the end of the masquerade.
Sounds good. Okay, a measured spin, everyone. Sadly, the party's over.
Yes. Now we need
Yes.
to make an after party, right?
That's right. We have to go to the after party, or they have to stumble home. One of the one. Maybe the
Stumble
clockwork.
home, my dear.
The clockwork's not quite as clockworky after that party. You know? Lindsay, thanks so much
Yeah,
for submitting that, and I do hope that all the judges' remarks to you are helpful.
certainly.
And I hope that we can continue on with this one, and I would love to hear a live performance of this, whatever it is that you end up deciding that it should be. Hopefully we can help with that at some point in the future. I do remember last time we were speaking, you were working on things with electric bassoons, and I'm curious, how are things going?
Things are going really well. I actually just gave a really successful, well, to me, it felt very successful presentation at my university about this kind of a research colloquium. So there was a chance to answer some questions at the end and just share what I've been learning about the topic to some music folks, lots of non-music folks,
Okay.
or folks that are maybe more hobbyists. And it was a really, really nice time. I was able to bring in, my DAW or digital audio workstation,
Mm-hmm.
connect that to a microphone where I was performing the bassoon, and then running certain effects through the microphone and kind of just showing what they sound like in different spaces and different effects. And then running that through a looper and doing some live songwriting and
Okay. All
composition
right. Yeah.
for people. That was really, really fun.
That's what would you say is the number one takeaway that the audience had from you?
I think the number one takeaway might have been not to put certain instruments in a box,
Mm.
as in not to limit them as far as genre goes, and instead maybe use whatever instrument you are playing with or working on as a tool to interact with other genres. That wasn't necessarily my big point of it, but I think that's what a lot of folks got away from
Okay.
it.
Well, okay, I should ask, what was your big point then? That's to be fair to you.
Yeah, that's fair. So I think what I was really trying to show were some of the different creative and educational ways where some of this technology could be used and harnessed.
Hmm.
For example, different ways in which looping could be used to practice important orchestral excerpts,
Oh,
stuff
okay.
that a lot of musicians really dread practicing, and kind of put it in a space where it's a little more interactive and might feel a little less pressure, but still keep the intensity up. So, for example, one piece that I ended up showing off kind of an orchestral excerpt during the colloquium was the Bolero excerpt. And there's this
Okay.
wonderful bassoon solo in the Bolero by Maurice Ravel. It's pretty high and it's rhythmically tricky.
Hmm.
And it is played over this rhythmic ostinato or repeating figure in the orchestra. So to do this, I first kind of created the ostinato using a looper, all of the different elements that were continuing and continuing, and then had the freedom to play different parts of the melodic solo over that. And it really forces you to keep in time, keep in tune, and really be listening to that ostinato, which is something that a lot of teachers tell their students. Envision listening to that ostinato while you play. And what better way to get that stuck in your head and feel confident doing it than practicing with that ostinato for as long as you need to and your own practice
As long
time.
as you can stand it. Yes, right. Right.
Yes, or
Right.
your neighbors can stand
Or,
it.
well, I think for the bassoon, you're probably safe, but maybe if it
So
was,
far, I've
I
been
don't.
pretty safe.
Bassoons can be loud, but maybe not like brass. I don't know. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I think I told you my dad was rumored to have played bassoon, but I never saw him play it, so I don't really know for sure. There are no pictures that I know. But digging around in the house the other day, 2 weeks ago was the other day, I found a piece that he wrote, which is a trio for flute, oboe, and bassoon. It's all very nicely written out. So I'm going to have to put it in my Logic Pro and see if there was anything there to bring back for my dad. I think he was 20 years old in 1948 when he wrote this piece. So yeah, maybe he actually did play bassoon. It's like I said, it's a rumor. He played everything else. So yep,
Okay. Not.
yep,
That
yep,
sounds cool.
yep. So you're teaching still at University of Maine, right?
Yep, the University of Maine and
At
Augusta.
Augusta. Okay. And how are the students this semester?
the students are working hard. They're coming up with a lot of creative song work this semester,
Okay.
and mostly studious.
Well, I'm sure you're giving them lots of good things, and you're being mostly creative too. Do you have anything else you'd like to have us focus on for 2026 for you, or is it kind of we'll see what the summer and the fall brings as it comes?
Well, 2026, my goal is just to write more music, which writing this Symphonina was really a fun part of doing that.
Yeah.
So, write more music. I'm also working on creating some string quartet pieces for developing string quartets. That's in collaboration with a really great friend of mine, Gabrielle Padilla, who is a string pedagogue,
Hmm.
and she's been studying how to work on chamber music skills, which seems to sometimes take a seat on the back burner. A lot of times we're so focused in like etude books of the technical skills of playing by yourself. But she's a little more interested in the chamber music, which is playing together in small groups, and how do we grow as chamber musicians. So I'm currently working on very short, maybe 1 or 2 minute etudes for string quartets right now, trying to address certain things to work on. Maybe that's cueing or taking, realizing your role,
Hmm.
ROLE, in certain parts of music, and certain articulations, things like that.
That's interesting. It's a great idea and a good tip for people in general. You have to be cognizant of every different aspect of the music that you're playing, not just the music itself, but also how you're interacting with the other players, the audience, the conductor, if there is one, the recording engineer, if there is one. All those things make a difference. And of course, the metronome, your friend. So if there is one,
Yeah.
yeah. And if there isn't one and you're practicing, maybe there should be one. So yeah, and I'm sure as the students are being creative, so are you being creative, Lindsey. We appreciate all the help that you've given us through all these years. If people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
I have a website, lindseywiehl.com. That's probably the best way to find me. My email address is on there, and I love getting emails. So,
All right, Lindsey, we're going to listen to some more of your Symphonina. Again, on the way out here, we want to give you every encouragement. Let's see if we can get a live recording of that someday. And of course,
yeah.
if we can be of any other help to you at the Symphonina Foundation at any time, just let me know.
Thanks, David.